Hello. In this video, I will talk about what might be the causes of self-harm. First, I will briefly touch on what is self-harm. Self-harm can be take a wide range of responses. It could be eating something excessively, or it could be, in the extreme cases, inflicting injuries to ourselves. Self-harm is a way of dealing with an emotion or thought. And there could be different reasons why people might self-harm. It is very important to remember that two episodes of self-harm may look the same, the result might be same, but actually the cause of self-harm might be very different. So we should not presume or assume why somebody is self-harming themselves. So what are the causes of self-harm? Briefly speaking, it can be classed into 6 different categories. The first is it might be a way of coping with emotional distress. For example, if somebody has been victim of sexual abuse and if they remember that experience for any reason, there might be a trigger, and that might be the only way they can cope with that trauma. Sometimes self-harm can also give the feeling of that person might be in control of their life situations. That means by doing self-harm, by going through the experience of self-harm, they can feel to themselves, they can convince themselves, I'm in control, I can do whatever I like. And sometimes it can be a way of punishing ourselves because we might not like ourselves. We might hate ourselves. For example, sexual abusers can make the victims think that it is their fault. And the victims might feel that their body is the cause of that experience. It's a very well-known trick that abusers play on their victims. And the victim might think that only way they can control themselves by punishing themselves. It's very sad, but it can happen. It's our mind. Sometimes the self-harm could be to relieve an emotion. For example, if there is an emotion of sadness, self-harm can be a distraction technique from that. Sometimes self-harm can be a way of us telling others that we need help. And quite often it is the case. And the final reason can be if we get any very damaging, intrusive thoughts. For example, if we develop a body image which is not helpful for us, if we start hating our body, sometimes self-harm can be a way of dealing with those intrusive thoughts. So these are the brief categories that might lead to self-harm. The purpose of video is twofold. Number one, person who is going through the experience of self-harming, they might not know why it might be happening. I would request you, if that is the case, if you are the person, just think which of these causes might be the reason behind your actions if you're trying to find the answer. Or number two, it is for the people who are supporting, who are around a person who is self-harming. It might be worth thinking what might be the cause, because if you understand the cause, your responses might be very different to just that of an anger. I will talk about this topic later even more. But for them, this is just an introduction, and I hope I'm trying to raise awareness of this topic. Thank you for watching. Wish you all the best.